This is not like a conscript army where people are given a rifle and say aliens are that way. If you need more ammo, pick it up from the guy who died before you. It's not that kind of situation, right? These are volunteers. They're given like this high-end hardware, but somehow nobody shows Cage how to use it. And the first time he dies because he can't turn the weapon on. Why?
I don't think I had the problem when I was watching it. The only part I was like questioning was like, him and like him being an officer and him being like a higher rank, and how no one would check that, or no one would make sure that he was who he was, etc. They kind of just like set him up and threw him in there.
If I am part of that squad, I would be upset that there's somebody potentially just shooting me in the back because they don't know how to aim a gun, because they haven't been trained and they don't want to be there. You know what I mean? Like the scenario is set up in a way where that shouldn't be happening. You could absolutely justify it. Just make it a conscription army, right? Just say, okay, we can churn out these power suits by the tens of thousands, but we need bodies to pilot them. So we're going to grab anybody who is not who can physically do it, because most of them will die anyway. But it's the only way we will win.
I feel like you focus on these things a little bit more than I normally do.
I want it to make sense, and I want to believe the scenario. And if you can't be bothered to come up with a scenario that actually makes sense, I'm gonna take it personally.
I don't think this is as egregious as some of the examples that we've seen. I think one that we kind of both agreed on was like Alien Romulus, if you remember that one, where it was just like
Mhm.
it just didn't quite make sense, the whole setup of that particular movie.
Yeah, it's definitely not as bad as Alien Romulus. And my complaint there was basically that the entire scenario doesn't make sense about how these people are so impoverished and so under the control of the company that they have to escape this horrible life. But at the same time, they can just take a spaceship and go. Edge of Tomorrow is not nearly as bad, but you still have to sit through about 15 minutes of it. And I would rather not. There's ways to change the scenario. Like I said, make it a conscription army and make them a little bit more desperate, or even don't do it at all and just have him show up at the base and weave it into some dialogue that he's not really supposed to be there and that he upset a general and this is his only way out or something. You just have to ignore everything that's being said for the first 15 minutes or so. And that, I think that's a little bit of a problem. That's also the part where you establish the stakes and you kind of set the framework for everything that happens after, right? Like just how desperate things are, for example. And apparently not very. Like everybody's in good spirits and nobody, like there's no bombardment from the aliens and nobody's taking precautions. Nobody's even concerned about the aliens attacking. They're completely fighting on their own terms and stuff like this. And then why do they need to press gang somebody into it, or why is that even a thing that's accepted? Why does the drill sergeant not say, no, I'm not having somebody on my team who is like this? Like I'm not endangering all my people over this. You know what I mean? It just does not add up, and everything else about the movie does add up, I think, and that's why the beginning kind of sticks out as much as it does.